Brother, I'd like to remind you today that you are not your mind. Now, your addictive behavior with pornography, sex, masturbation, it exists, it lives, it thrives within your mind. But the reality is, you are not your mind. You have to choose to separate yourself from your mind. One of the ways that you can do this is via meditation, but there are many other awareness practices that you can do. Many people actually live their lives thinking and believing that they are their minds. Like you believe that you are your thoughts. You believe that you are what we call the addict subpersonality, that you are the actual entity that is thinking those thoughts, that you are the entity that is looking at that woman and wondering what she's going to look like naked, undressing her with your eyes, that you are the person who is jumping from one tab to the other, going down a rabbit hole of depravity and perversion. But you're not that person. And you know that. You know that as soon as you ejaculate, as soon as you come, as soon as you orgasm, call it whatever you want to call it, you suddenly come back to awareness. Strong emotions come up. Sometimes it is pain. Sometimes it is guilt. Sometimes it is compassion. Sometimes it is disgust. All of that is coming from awareness. It is the pain that your heart, your true self, is experiencing. So understand that your mind is not where you actually live. There is something beyond that. Your mind is simply conditioned. It's been conditioned from the time you were growing up to have a certain type of identity. I am a business owner. I am a father. I am a deacon in the church. I am a porn addict. I am a this. I am a that. I am a man who is into this. I'm a fit guy. I'm a whatever it is. But that is actually not you. That is the conditioning of your mind, where your identity is attached. There is something beyond that that is no different from any other human being. We all share that same awareness. Some people call it your awareness. Some people call it your heart. Some people call it your soul. I'm not here to get woo-woo or spiritual. I'm just letting you know that you should not identify with your mind, because you begin to think that you are the actual person, that you are evil and that you are perverted and you are a person who enjoys doing this. No. If you were, then there would be no desire for you to change. But there is a deep desire for you to change. Why do you have that desire? Where does it come from? Who is the quote unquote person who says you should not be doing this? This is hurting you. This is wrong. Where is that coming from? Those are the questions to ask yourself. You are not your mind. As promised in the last episode, I'm going to end this by sharing a few more relapse warning signs. Again, just to increase your awareness. And as always, the gentle reminder that just because you're experiencing one of these, it does not mean that you're actually relapsing. This is just to raise your awareness. When you start developing what I call an I don't care attitude, it's not apathy. It is just like, you know what? I don't give a fuck about this program anymore. I just don't care about it. Fuck it. I'm just not interested. It comes from two things. Number one, poor self-image. Number two, you feel helpless. We'll see men say this, but a lot of men can't say it directly to me. But I'll sense the attitude. They're like, I don't give a fuck attitude. And the reason why I say most men don't say it to me is not because I'm JK or anything special. It's because an individual who has poor self-image will not risk that self-image. Like, you will not show up and tell your reboot strategist or your coach that you don't care. You won't even send them a message. Why? Because your ego is fragile. But the truth is, within our program, our coaches, we don't give a fuck about the self-image thing, because we know that once you change your habits and your lifestyle, your self-image will change. What we're really focused on is the helpless part, because that is part of that I don't care attitude. And that's really what we focus on. So when you literally hear yourself saying some variation of, I don't care or I don't give a fuck about this porn thing anymore, check your self-image and then ask yourself, have you gotten to a point of helplessness? Another warning sign is when you begin to reject help. Now, this can happen due to different reasons. Somebody could piss you off. Somebody could hurt your pride. Somebody could have said something that challenged your ego. But often I see it in men because of something that has to do with their ego that triggers anger. It could be as simple as getting on a call with one of our reboot strategists, or even listening to an episode in the podcast where just something I say or something a therapist says, something somebody says makes you go like, fuck you, I don't need help. Your ego responds and goes like, you know what, I'm not that kind of person. I refuse to identify with that. The point is, the warning sign is that you reject help. There are 3 words that I hear from men during their, we call it legacy call. A legacy call in the intensive program is a call that you have with me to look at your progress through the program and determine what you need in the months to come when you leave the program. And the 3 words that I look for that tell me that a man is going to slip is when he says, I've got this, or says, I think I got this, but he doesn't have any sort of accountability set up outside of the program. His reboot capital in different areas is weak. Usually all he has is a certain number of weeks or months without acting out, without engaging in his behavior. I got this is very dangerous. It is a rejection of help. When a man can admit that he has control over his behavior, but he still needs help, and that simply means that there's still areas of his reboot capital that he could do with help. It doesn't have to be from the program, but it could be from maybe his family members. It could be from his church. It could be from his therapist. He just knows he needs to bolster or reinforce certain areas in his life. Then I know that he's heading out with the right mindset in a healthy way. So again, rejecting help is a warning sign of a relapse. The last one I'll share, a warning sign, is experiencing self-pity. This is sadly, and I've experienced this before. I remember, I was so good at this. Let me be honest. I indulged in self-pity. I was so good at just, I'm struggling. Just my life is a series of unfortunate fucking events. All the shit that happens to me. I've worked so hard. I've really put my all into this. I've sunk thousands of dollars into all these self-improvement problems. And still nothing has changed. I'm still struggling with this behavior, jerking off all the fucking time. It's as if nothing changed. I was this year, now I'm like 5 years older, and this shit, I loved it. I was a connoisseur of of self-indulgence in self-pity. One thing that I look back on and I cringe a little bit, there's a tiny bit of shame there, is the realization that I used that as an attention-seeking mechanism in certain groups. Like I would show up and I'd just be like, guys, and shit's so hard. And I would do that. I would do that with family members. I wouldn't tell them about my out of control behavior, but let's say I was struggling financially when I was in my early 20s. I would do that with my mom a lot. And she would feel bad and send me money. It was manipulative. I would do that in certain groups where I was seeking help for my out of control behavior and other parts of my life just to get attention. I wasn't aware that I was doing it. Sometimes I would have a little bit of awareness, but of course it's an indulgence and it's, I should do it because my life is shit. That is a relapse warning sign. Be very wary of it.